If you've seen a lot of SpongeBob, then you've probably seen an episode called Wormy. This episode might be goofy and ridiculous like all the others, but what isn't known is that it has a gruesome secret. When the final version of the episode was aired on the 17th of February 2001, you'd see the usual title card and opening credits, as it began at the tree dome with SpongeBob and Patrick seeing Sandy the squirrel out the door. They started to play with one of her pets, that being a common worm, and after a few scenes of this, they decided it's time to leave for the day, and both friends sadly leave, returning to their homes for the night. When they return the next day, they see Wormy had undergone a metamorphosis, and as gullible as they are, they believe the butterfly form had eaten Wormy. They manage to trap it in a bubble, but it escapes outside of the tree dome, and they follow it to the Krusty Krab, and Mr. Krabs is posing for a photo with Squidward, and they think Wormy would eat the both of them. SpongeBob and Patrick tackle both of them, and they topple into the cash register's boat, and after explaining the situation, they peek outside from behind the boat. Squidward criticizes them and grabs the bubble containing Wormy, with him and Mr. Krabs looking closer, only to see an up-close shot of Fly's head, with them screaming in the fright of the many eyes and dash out of the building. SpongeBob, previously cowering in the boat, sees they left their underwear and assumes Wormy ate them, so they go to inform the town, putting up warning posters showing a giant butterfly. Soon the town is in chaos, with the background being a blood red, and the buildings have chunks torn out of them, and some of them are completely destroyed. Soon, Sandy returns to see the town is in ruin and assumes a tornado came through. Wormy, still in its bubble, flies up to her and lands onto her hand. She greets her pet and then traps it in a jar. As if she defeated a horrible monster, the townfolk of Bikini Bottom jump out and cheer for her, with SpongeBob saying how she caught the monster, with the episode ending as she and him are carried away by the cheering crowd. This is where the real story begins. If you look closely at Patrick during the last scene, you can see his face is poorly drawn at first, and a bit distorted in some places. Then it disappears altogether. Sure, it's just a slip-up from the artist. No big deal, you may think. Nothing could be further from the truth. Before the final release of the episode, they reviewed it like with any other episode. Everything was normal from the beginning up to when SpongeBob visits the Krusty Krab. At one point it focuses on a shot of him, where one of his arms becomes deformed and bent backwards by itself, and after a few seconds the screen twitched and it was back to normal. Then a few moments later, when he thought Mr. Krabs and Squidward had been eaten by Wormy, the screen froze for a moment as his blue in his eyes vanished, being replaced with pitch black holes. His mouth moved as if he was continuing to say dialogue about Wormy. However, there was no sound, and upon observing his lip movements, the animators noticed that they appeared to say, "I'll kill you." Nothing else happened until Sandy arrived from the bus, where the same scenario played out, where she traps Wormy in a jar. Nothing happens for about 3 minutes after that, with Sandy just standing still, sky remaining blood red. Then one by one the heads of the citizens emerged from behind the building, but instead of being delighted at the capture of Wormy, their faces showed no emotion at all, as they stared blankly at Sandy and slowly walked towards her. They pause about 5 feet away from her and form a circle. SpongeBob's eyes are black again. Suddenly one fish started to scream and the rest followed, the sound reminiscent of that of nails on a chalkboard as they grab the jar containing Wormy and smash it on the ground, stomping on it as an unnatural amount of blood sprays out. A lone figure appears on the horizon and begins to advance towards the mob, and as it gets closer it's revealed to be Patrick with no face. He picks Sandy up, shaking her above his head, before throwing her down on the ground, which cracks her helmet. Water pours in and she begins to suffocate. The rest of the mob follows Patrick as her innards and internal organs are being thrown around like confetti as she disappears over the horizon. The intersection now looks like a war zone. Smouldering craters, burning buildings and that blood-red sky. Nothing is left in the smoking road except the very distorted SpongeBob, with the episode ending with him staring directly at the camera and speaking in a low, raspy voice. "This is your end." The screen cuts to static and then turns to black. The team that watched this was horrified, and at most did a half-baked job fixing it before its release. They took the shot of SpongeBob saying "I'll kill you" and left it as a painting of the underwear on the floor of the Krusty Krab, and they never showed SpongeBob in that moment, instead using a sound clip of him commenting in fear that Wormy had eaten his colleagues and that it had escaped. And as for the finale, they changed the scene so it cut off before Sandy was about to be killed by the crowd, and changed their expressions to be more joyful, not following them out of the shot, tidying it up, and quickly giving Patrick a face. However, being distressed, they left a few frames of it in without it in. If you don't believe me, just watch the episode.